Hello, we are here with the chairman and founder of UMH Properties, Eugene W. Landy, and we're going to talk about the industry and UMH Properties. So UMH was founded in 1968, and when UMH first started, what was the challenges of the manufactured housing industry, and what developments have you seen from then until now?
It has been a continual development, and this is a wonderful opportunity for me to tell everybody that today's manufactured housing is not the manufactured housing of the past. We've had enormous breakthroughs, and it's a great opportunity for me to explain why manufactured housing is the housing of now and the future.
The industry from now until then, what has been some of the innovations that you guys have seen?
Well, the original homes were not built to the HUD code, the Housing and Urban Development Agency, federal government standards. The original homes were not built to those standards, and now we have federal standards. And the marvelous thing about federal standards is that you don't have to comply with every local zoning ordinance. You just have to comply with a national ordinance. And that creates great efficiencies and the ability for manufacturers to turn out a model and duplicate the model 50,000 times and save costs and use the expensive and durable materials and create a superior product. I always tell people, if you have 35 doors in a conventional house, what does one door cost? And if you have 10,000 doors, it costs a fraction of that. And the ability to have factories produce it in all weathers in 2 or 3 shifts, to have the capital that you can make substantial investments, so you can engineer the product and re-engineer the product. And we've reached that stage. And we're at the point today where conventional homes cost more than $500,000, whereas a manufactured home is half the price. And then I can get into further what has also changed is the community. There is great efficiencies in running a community versus putting one house on one lot. You can have a clubhouse, you can have a swimming pool, you can have a door park, you can have a concierge, you can have a mayor of the town. There are great efficiencies in running 200-space communities over the one person living on one lot. And we produce all sorts of amenities. People think that you save on manufactured housing solely because the product costs half as much. But it also costs substantially less to run a residence and to have your insurance, your taxes are less. We have made a great deal of progress, but we are only beginning to be discovered. The nation needs 4 million more houses. There is a terrific shortage of housing, and the cost of housing is going up, so people have to buy a less expensive house. But more than that, the manufactured house is now a better product, and it's just so important that I tell the story. By the way, one of the poor developments has been that everything is more regulated. When I first started building communities, in 3 months you were able to get the approvals and build a community. Today, it takes us 15 years in some cases to get the approvals. But we're working on that problem. If we can get the approvals and if we can get long-term patient capital, we can really make a dent in the 4 million homes the nation needs to get the housing market more in balance.
And that's one of the reasons we see UMH frequently improving pre-existing communities, buying them, and making them beautiful again. There's not that many new communities. What are some of the new communities that you're very proud of?
You have it right. We are doing what we call Greenfield development, and in Sebring, Florida, we're building a 220-space community. By the way, I have to give my interlocutor here the credit for doing these drone videos that anyone can go on our website and see our Sebring Park. which is an award-winning park. All the tenants rave about it and label it 5-star. And we've built that over the last 3-4 years. We really want to build a lot of communities. Every 1,000 homes we build costs about $250 million to build, which is half of what it would cost for a conventionally built home. And every one of our homes only takes up 1/4 of an acre, whereas other homes, there's one per an acre. So it's 4 times 1/4 of the land. It's a more efficiently built home. The community is run for the resident and all the stakeholders. And so Greenfield development is great. The other thing we do is buy existing communities and go in there and over a period of 2, 3, 4 years, renovate the community and make it a high-value community living that the tenants, as well as the owner of the land, is proud of. We have to tell you that turning these communities around takes years. It takes good management, but it's always a pleasure. And if you understand the problem, if there's a town and the neighborhood is not doing too well, how do you rehabilitate the town? You've got 200 separate owners, each with different motives. Very hard to rehabilitate conventional housing. Whereas a manufactured home community has one owner of the land, and we can make it to the advantage of the resident to take out the old home, put in a new home. We can upgrade the community. We can put in new amenities. And we know we can come out with a brand new community in replacement of one that may have been a great community, but it's 60, 70 years old. And so rehabbing communities is one of the things we do, and we do it very successfully. The other thing we try to do is build a community. And to do that, we develop relationships with the local police, the fire department, the mayor, the council, because we want everyone to see that we can build one of the best residences available so that the next time we come in to expand a community or build a Greenfield community, we won't get turned down, we get the approval. And today, we own 136 communities, about 26,000 sites. And we're very proud of what we've done, but we would love to continue with this progress by building 1,000 more homes a year, which is probably 5 communities. And we want to build that many for decades to come.
Something exciting is the Oz funds and the government becoming aware of the benefits of manufactured housing, and I know UMH has a few communities in the Oz fund areas. Would you like to shed some light on how you're excited about Oz funds and where we have them?
The government wants to provide the needed housing. It's a bipartisan issue. Everybody wants more housing. Everybody understands that young couples can't afford homes. Everybody understands that there's a need for 4 million homes. And this need has grown because we haven't built enough homes over the past 20 years. And we certainly haven't built many manufactured home communities over the past 20 years. So how can we get people to build more communities? Now, one of the problems is it takes years, whether you're going to rehabilitate a community or you're going to get it approved and do a Greenfield development. And then even after you build it, it takes several years to get the residents in there so that people can see that it's a good place to live. And so filling the community, even though there's a shortage of housing, it still takes 1, 2, 3 years to fill it. So in the earlier years, you don't make any money. So we've tried to devise a system by which the investors take a long-term view and have the money to create these new communities. And we believe, and most of the experts will tell you, the only way we're going to solve the housing shortage is by giving some tax advantage to people who invest in affordable housing. And so we've devised, we haven't invented the Oz Fund. The Oz Fund was a bipartisan legislation by both Democrats and Republicans to build more housing, but it's a little cumbersome now to do, and it requires all sorts of restrictions on what money qualifies. We've proposed an amendment to that law that any money invested in an OZ fund that's dedicated to and provides affordable housing qualifies for the OZ fund benefits. And we've contacted congressmen, the government regulators, and everyone seems to think this is a good idea. So we're hopeful we get this change made so that we can get the capital to build 1,000 homes a year, which would be $250 million of new housing each year for the next decade.
Something else exciting is UMH started Duplex homes. What's some of your input on the Duplex homes and how that can benefit people?
Well, we've tried to be a leader, but most of the leadership we're showing, we see a problem and we think there's a solution. There's a shortage of land, so we said when we build a home on a lot, why don't we have 2 units instead of 1? The average garden apartment is 625 square feet and costs over $350,000 a unit. We said let's take a 70 by 16 home, a little over 1,000 square feet, and cut it in half, and then have 2 units of about 550 square feet each. And there was a technical problem in that didn't meet the definition of a manufactured housing, which under the old law was a single unit. We said, well, the solution to that is very simple. Take out the single unit, it can be a double unit. And so we helped invent the double unit. The government's made the change, and we hope to build a community with 100 units, each one containing 2 units, 550 square feet each, which is the perfect size for a single adult or even a one-parent family with 1 child. And of course, if you use half the land and you use 1 home to come out, you again cut the cost of housing dramatically. And we're now in the process of getting approvals to build the single unit duplex, we call it. It's our tiny home. And then we revised that so on a bigger unit, which is a double wide unit, which is 2,200 square feet, we cut that in half and we have 2 1,100 square feet units. And this is designed for the smaller family, but still is 1 or 2 bedrooms with 1 bathroom and 2 of those units. I always say that it's so much better to live in one of these manufactured homes than a single bathroom apartment that's only 650 square feet. And the tenants agree with us. Those who've lived in our communities grow to love the community because it's single-family living in a sound environment.
Something I'm very proud of visiting the communities is our community centers, our maintenance team, and our ability to create a great place to live. How does UMH differentiate itself from its competitors with all the amenities they have and the way they take care of their communities?
When we say we differentiate ourselves, we believe in good faith and fair dealing. We believe that a sound business has to have a happy customer. So we take a long-term view. And if you have a long-term view and you have satisfied customers that love the community they live in, they stay there. So the turnover is down, and when the turnover is down, your expenses are down. And then the community develops value. People will pay twice as much for a house in a good community than in a poor community. So if we can create a community that's a good community that the tenants love and appreciate and recommend to their friends, the actual value of the community goes up. So we're not as interested. We think the others make a mistake in looking to get the maximum rent and the minimum maintenance. We try to have very adequate maintenance, very good relations with our tenants, and rents that are highly competitive, in fact, so superior to renting an apartment or a house. And in the long run, that increases our value. So we've been in business 55 years, and the tide is always in our favor. Not only is there inflation over the years, but land values have gone up tremendously, and neighborhoods have become more valuable. We've grown from a nation in my time from 150 million to 350 million. I can't think of a better business to be in. And what we do is we own the land, the tenant owns their house, so if they rent the house, they have the right to buy their house, and they share in the prosperity that we have. And in the long run, we do very, very well. And our company does well, our investors do well, and the community does well. Our communities fill up through word of mouth. One of the problems in getting a manufactured home community started, when you start, you don't have anybody to give you a word of mouth recommendation. The word of mouth recommendation from a sister-in-law, an aunt, or a cousin carries a lot of weight. So it takes a little time to get these recommendations, and we try to encourage tenants by offering them a recommendation bonus. But that proves to be very successful, and we fill our parks through the word-of-mouth recommendation of existing tenants.
UMH employees, we've had multi-generational employees. How do we keep people staying with the company for so long?
First of all, they enjoy their job, and they stay with the company because they can see the good that they're doing, and everyone can see. They drive to the community. They can see that it's a nice, neat community. They can see the tenants when they come in that they're satisfied. They solve their problems. There's a great deal of satisfaction that our managers and workforce has because they are helping people directly, face to face. And there's nothing more important than shelter. If the electric goes out, the stove doesn't work, the snow is bound in, whatever problems they have are very important problems to them, and very important that we help solve them. The other thing is we're very proud that we have a multi-generational staff. We have people working for us whose fathers and grandfathers worked for us. And that's actually very good for us because they're dedicated. It's a very good job, and they can see the benefits of what they've done, and they have a great deal of knowledge. They know the community. They know the local police. They know the contractors. They know the manufacturers. They know the people who bring the new homes in, and they know the staff at the main office. And we know them, and we knew their father and their grandfather. The best compliment an employee ever made to me was, "I wish my daughter could come and work here too." And so we instill that in them, and it makes us a very good company. And we keep people. We have a newsletter that's really magnificent, and in the newsletter constantly people express their satisfaction with working with UMH, and that every day when they help a tenant, solve a tenant's problems, or just the fact that they're providing housing they can afford, they get a great deal of satisfaction from them. And that's the attitude we need, and that's the mission of the company.
So what can we expect from UMH in the future?
Well, I'm very proud of the people that run UMH. I'm 91 years old, and I still have some ideas, but the people that run UMH, they do it day to day, and we've instilled in them the understanding that our residents have to be satisfied. That's the only way to build a good business, and we've got a tremendous staff We have a good engineering staff, a good maintenance staff. We do better on insurance than anyone, and we have great ideas, and we want to be a leader in the industry, first of all, to help the community and help the nation, but as well, we should have a very prosperous business.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to be with someone who is not only my grandfather, but has provided such an American dream for its employees and residents. And UMH is only destined for great things. And I hope everyone looks at this video and continues to see all the great things UMH is doing.
So I'll repeat myself. I'm happy to have Jeremy Landy do the videos. I want people to watch it. And a picture is worth 1,000 words. A video is worth even more.